everybody, my name is Katie Dids and welcome to my channel. For today's video, I'm back in my creative world and we'll be building a house inspired by Studio Ghibli. So, let's get started. Since summer is pretty much here, I wanted to build something that gave off summer vibes, and Studio Ghibli movies have always reminded me of summer. I think there's just something about the color palettes and vibrant plant-filled visuals that give off a summer feeling for me. Either that, or it's because for one whole summer of my life, my little sister was absolutely obsessed with Ponyo. So that definitely could have done it. Either way, these movies scream summer for me. So for this build, I wanted to bring that summer vibe in. That, however, means I have to do something I try and avoid like the plague. Build with birch. It's not like I've never built with birch. In fact, it used to be my go-to wood type, as seen here in one of my old bedrock worlds. But over time, and as I've started to get better at building, birch, for whatever reason, has become more and more intimidating. That said, this series is all about me going out of my comfort zone and pushing the limits of my skills in order to become a better builder. So, let's hope I can pull it off. And if you'll follow me, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my plans for this build. For this build, I'm using several different Studio Ghibli houses as inspiration. So I decided to go with the simple L shape for the house as modeled in this house from Kiki's Delivery Service. This shape always reminds me of a greenhouse. I'm not really sure why, but it does, and greenhouses remind me of summer. Plus, there's a cottage feel to it that I really liked, and for this build, I wanted to go for this cozy summer cottage. For the color palette, I'm using three houses: Kiki's Delivery Service, Ponyo, and My Neighbor Totoro, which is where the birch comes in. Now, I recognize I could have used an easier block like sandstone, but A, where's the fun in that? And B, like I said, this series is about challenging myself. So, birch it was. In a second, when I get building, you'll notice I used a mix of angular and rounded shapes. You'll also notice some pretty obvious asymmetry. Studio Ghibli movies always have this whimsical, magical nature to them. So, to represent that, I tried to make my build have both some fantasy elements like the rounded window and door, but also be a little nonsensical with the asymmetry. Also, I just really like asymmetry. When done right, I think it adds a lot to your build. But enough of me yapping about my build, I think it's time to actually build it. So, cue the time lapse. First of all, sorry if there's any audio things. I'm using my phone to record this. My mic is in the other room, and I didn't think I would need it, but here we are. Anyways, I used the wrong block. I just noticed. I'm, going along, minding my own business. I'm listening to music. Actually, Mamma Mia to be specific. And, well, this is supposed to be mangrove. This is supposed to be mangrove wood, and I messed up, but you know what? Hey, that happens. And so I guess I'm just gonna tear this down and start over. So, I just wanted to give a quick explanation, and back to the time lapse. hello! While you were stuck in the time lapse, I decided to do the inside. So, this is what I did. I don't have a better way to say that. I decided to kind of go with the accent wall here and then flow through with the birch on the inside. Now, something that I did over here was I actually doubled up the wall. Now, this is not something that I do very often, but for the purpose of this, I did decide to do it. And I like the way it looks. I think that this is kind of cool. It allows you to have this little bump in here that I really do enjoy. And then and then we have the upstairs, which goes into a single little bedroom. This is, just meant to be a sweet little Studio Ghibli inspired cozy cottage. So I kind of wanted to bring in that coziness with just one singular little bedroom upstairs. So now that I've done the inside, it's time to decorate. With that, I did a little bit of this and a little bit of this. I also did a little bit of this. And I really hope this isn't getting old because I did a little bit of this. I also did some of this. And this. And some of this as well. Oh, and this too. Seriously, is this getting old yet? Because I also did this. And of course we can't forget about the outside, so I also did this. And this too. Seriously, this is probably getting old, but I did this. Oh, also I did this as well. And lastly, I did a whole heck of a lot of this. And with that, it's finished. I am genuinely so proud of this build. I really pushed myself and went out of my comfort zone. And while yes, I think maybe there are places where I could have done better and there's definitely room for improvement, I still think that this is one of the best things I've ever built. I am genuinely so proud of how much effort and work I put into crafting something and bringing my idea to life within this game. So I am going to give you a little walkthrough of what I've done. I've already spoken about the build itself in the beginning, so I'm not going to speak on that. I'm just going to kind of talk you through the decorations and in my thought process with them. So, first, I'm going to start off with this path. I decided to just go for some mud and some rooted dirt, as well as these stone, mossy cobblestone and mossy stone bricks to outline the path. I felt that this is just a really harsh line here, and so to soften that a bit, I did this, which definitely works to transition it well into the grass. I then continued this up through here, and I even broke up the stone just a little bit, as if the person who's living here didn't really take, as if the person who lives here over time just kind of stopped taking care of this path, but really kept up with this one to make sure that the at least front of the house looked nice and well put together. This then continues this way with these little flower beds off to the side. I thought that that was kind of a nice touch and definitely brought in the flora and stuff of Studio Ghibli movies. And then it continues back this way to a little gazebo and these little wind chime type things. I saw Good Times with Scar did this in one of his videos, not really recently, a couple months ago. And I really liked them, and I thought that that sort of thing would fit perfect in here. And I also love doing this with signs in general and totally forgot about it. And then he reminded me, and I went, oh my gosh, yeah. So, point is, I added a couple of those around, so you'll kind of see them hanging throughout the build. There's even some inside, which I'll get to in a second, but I have this little gazebo that I absolutely adore. It's simple and sweet and there's not too much to it, but I think that that really aids the whole build itself because there is a lot going on here, and something simple like this just kind of makes it so it fills out the build, but it doesn't necessarily draw your attention, which is exactly what I was trying to do, because the attention should be on the main part of the build, not all of this. Around this other side here, I just have some trees, more of these wind chime type things, and just some grass. I bone mealed the grass just to make it a little bit longer, a little bit more overgrown, and a little less neat and tidy. That is the thing about Studio Ghibli movies, is that there is a lot to them. They're not clean cut. They're very lived in, I think is the best way to describe it, which creates such a cozy, warm feeling to the movies that I just genuinely really love, and that's the only real commentary I have on it. So, if you head inside, we have a lot of color, you'll notice straight away. Not too much. It's definitely I held back, but that is the other thing about Studio Ghibli movies is that there is a lot of color in them. They don't shy away from the bright and vibrant. And so I wanted to add that with these signs here, as well as the carpet and the chairs, and I'm using scaffolding as a table. I then used these beehives as the floor for the kitchen to kind of create a sort of invisible wall type situation from the two spaces, and just to separate them a little bit within this build. We then have a faux cabinet here, faux closet I should say. This then slowly transitions into a little sitting area with plenty of plants, and once again I added the carpet and the red seating just to kind of transition everything nicely from room to room. Then as you head upstairs into the bedroom, it is just a little cozy one-room bedroom, and I've continued that color theming of bright, vibrant colors up into here with the paintings, the plants, and the bookshelves, as well as the bed, and once again with the signs as the sort of wind chime design. Once again, we have a little closet up here as well, and a little desk for whoever lives here to do some writing and look out this window out into the front yard. And there are also these two windows on the side in which you can look out of. Okay guys, so with that is now the end of today's video. I am once again just so unbelievably happy with this build. I'm very proud of the fact that I kind of went out of my comfort zone and did something that maybe I was a little bit intimidated by. But you know, like I said, while there's some room for improvement, I do think that I pulled it off. So yeah, if you liked today's video, please think about giving it a like, and don't forget to subscribe. See you guys next time. Bye!